Inventory has increased since last year, but it's still not keeping up with the demand that is needed to drive prices down. Who are the winners and who are the losers in this market? If you need to move, but you think your house is stopping you from doing it, or you want to buy a home and the headlines are giving you second thoughts, you need to listen to this November Market Update episode of the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Sweasey. Here's your host, James Bueno.
It's November 2022, and it's time for Market Update. Who's with me? Mr. Sweasey, how are you, sir?
You done Christmas shopping?
Oh, gosh, I'm not.
November.
Mr. Pete, how are you?
I'm doing great. Can't believe it's November already.
I feel like it's been a while since we've been in our studio here for our podcast. It feels good to be back. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We didn't plan this, but I just want to give a shout out to our producer, Mr. Jeff Kingman. Can we give him a round of applause?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yes, for this podcast of ours has been super successful. And man, Jeff, you've done such a great job. Yeah, grab yourself a microphone and accept your kudos.
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, plus the beard plays. You can't see that already.
Plus the beard, I know.
I've been working so hard, I forgot to shave.
Yeah, it's no, seriously, thank you very much. This has been super exciting, and you've done a great job for us.
Thank you, guys. I think the information that you provide here is a service to the community. I mean, a lot of people don't understand the inner workings of the type of work that you guys do. We take it for granted, the hard work that goes into behind the scenes of what it takes to purchase a house. And I came to you guys with the idea because I wanted to know how it works. So I think I learn every time I sit in here with you guys, and I know that the people listening really get a kick out of it, and it's just a great thing that you guys are doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. It's more Jay and Hal versus me, but but I'm going to go ahead and take some of the credit too because I'm here.
It's because of Jeff's selfishness.
Yeah, and you got the title of host, right?
You're more than producer. You're a client, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we have a few listings for sale if you're ready to go.
We're staying put for a while.
Right. Marriage before moving. Yeah.
Hal, real quick, we're going to do something a little bit different. I don't think we talked about it on any other podcasts. November 15th. What do we have going on?
Oh, yeah. It is a virtual home sellers seminar. Want to give advice to people who are thinking of selling their house and some things that'll help make the process a little bit easier. It's just an easier forum than having to sit down with me or a real estate agent in terms of, hey, we're getting ready to sell. What do we need to do? What are the things we need to keep track of? So yeah, that'll be November 15th. Mm-hmm. I think they can go, James, you know how to get there, but if you go to our website, there's a place to just log in. And
you can just click on it, reserve yourself a seat. It's invitation only, but you can give yourself an invite. You just go to our website.
Yeah.
And they can interact with you and actually talk with you in person, right? It's live.
Virtual.
Virtually live.
Well, it's a virtual home selling seminar, but it's not about virtually selling your home. It's about actually selling it, but it's going to be done virtual.
Right.
How many homes have you sold in your career here in San Luis County?
Over 2,500 or something like that.
Okay, so
it's 3,000.
Yeah,
not quite.
You want to see how to get it done from a guy who's doing it and been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Something to show up for.
Let's go ahead and get rolling.
Yes.
So November 2022, let's do a market update. What do you got for us?
Okay. So we like to go through a few numbers. One is, of course, number of homes on the market. This is where statistics get interesting because we had virtually 50% more homes on the market end of October this year versus a year ago. And I went, wow, that's a big, big jump. What the heck? And then I went and looked back to last year in October, and boy, oh boy, there were very few homes on the market, like 213 a year ago. So that was next to nothing. So it was a big jump in terms of a percentage, but relatively it was another 120 homes, not quite, for sale in a county again of 250,000. So that was a big jump. So that was a trend we've been seeing. Month over month, it was almost the same. September was about the same number of homes as October. And then we look at pendings and sales. Pendings were down about 41%, sales about 36%, which is to be expected, right? We know the demand has gone way down and the number of buyers out shopping is lower. People go, well, that doesn't sound good. Well, let's keep going here. New properties on the market, we had 131 come in, but then we had 167 sold. So we still have more homes selling that are coming back on the market. So the demand is still outstripping the supply. And I think what's good to note as well, or important to note, you get a lot more people this time of year because we were talking about the seasonality of the market. We don't have too much seasonality like you would think in the general sense of like, oh, we buy in the spring while the kids are in school, or for these certain reasons we buy or sell. But the inventory is usually a little bit lower in this time of the year during the holiday, November, December season. And what happens also is we see more people going, we tried for a price that we thought we can get. We didn't get it. And we don't have people kicking the doors down. We're going to take our home off the market. So we see more with withdrawn listings, what they call canceled or expired. People just said, I'm going to give it a break. This time doesn't seem to work for me. So that also restricts our supply in relation to our demand. And so year over year, median prices were up about 17%. Still higher than this time last year. When people ask me about median prices, we had something happen which is a really good example, because I always look at, a median price means, if we had a bunch of high-end homes sell, that affects our median price. If we just had the low-end market sell that month, that affects our median price, because you take all the prices, you put one in the middle, and that's what the median is. So we had this little tank farm property area in San Luis Obispo, little 2-bedroom, 2-bath garden homes. I'm not going to give too much detail, but they're all very similar. And I met with a family about a month ago to sell the property. I said, well, we had a sale in March for the same type house for $800, and we had one in August for $800, and this was in October. And we just closed that house for $812,000. Is the market going up, going down, flat? It doesn't seem to be going down in this specific price range. We had another one just come on the market in Avila, expensive house, $2.25 million, and it was very aggressively priced. It got 3 offers before it even hit the market. And it's in escrow. I wasn't part of that transaction. I just saw it and I was talking to the agent. It did go over asking. I don't know how much, but that's a property that 3 or 4 years ago was on the market, and it was on the market for, 180 days. I can look it up. I'm going to look it up so you guys know. I'm looking at a computer right now. And that property was on the market for, where's the days on the market? Jay, can you see it? It's going to come up here in a minute. So that was on the market for 299 days.
Wow.
Okay. So are we in a bad market? Now they got 3 offers over asking. At that time, it was $2 million. So it's probably on the high end of the range, right?
Right.
Didn't sell. So people go, days on the market's not good. Hey, people are still buying and selling homes. It's just not as feverish as it was. I would call this a normal market. The only thing that's different is the fear that people have of the unknown and watching the news.
News is sensationalism. Like that, it has to be sensational or it's not going to sell.
If you go back a couple of years, which has been a great market, this is just normal. I made a note about this too, because it's like, interest rates are higher. Trust me, if you were looking in February, March, and you could get a 3% mortgage, and now you're looking at 7%, if you're buying a house and you're financing 80% of that, your cost just went way up. So there's winners and losers when the market's doing what it's doing. If you're just trying to get in the market and your cost of borrowing has gone up that much, it's hard to be a first-time buyer. You're either on the sidelines, you have to change your expectations, or move to a less expensive area and make that move from renting to buying. If you own your home and you have a 3% mortgage, which probably a big percentage of if we were to guess, big percentage, Jay?
Big percentage. I mean, that's anybody who owned a home over the last 4 years has got their mortgage rate down to 3% or below. Yeah,
refinanced it, bought it at a certain time. So they got that rate, and they owe $300,000 on $1 million house. Yeah, they've got all this money, and they want to buy a $1.5 million house, and they're not going to pay more cash. So now they're borrowing an extra $500,000, not at 3, but at 7.
Yeah, or higher.
That's a big change, so that makes it more difficult, which means those people, and we've talked about this a little bit, are not going to be selling their houses. So that's going to keep our supply down, which is going to keep our prices solid. All right, who's the winner in this marketplace? Well, I have a number of people that are going, I've earned a lot of, my house has gone up a lot in value. I might have lost some money 1 year or 2 years in terms of value, and it's gone up over the long term. And I'm saying that on a reason for anybody thinking of buying a house. Maybe 1 or 2 years doing the life I've owned it, it's gone down in value, but it didn't matter because I lived there. Now, after 10, 15, 20 years, here I'm selling it. I've got a ton of equity. I'm going to go sell it. And my brother-in-law just did this. They sold their house in Maui, $2 million house. And they had $1 million loan. They paid it off, basically. They walked away with $1 million. And they just bought a house in Colorado, brand new, a little bit smaller, for $530,000.
Oh, wow. Relocation. Yeah.
Relocation.
Moving that asset from one place to another for a better advantage.
They win in that market. Are they affected by 7% mortgage rates?
No.
Or 10%? No. 2%? No.
So the cash buyer wins.
The cash buyer or the high equity buyer that scales down either locally, it's harder when you stay in the same market, or go to a cheaper market, they win. People that have an extra property or just own a property, inherited a property, if they're selling and not repurchasing, they win because they're still virtually buying it a very high price in our general marketplace. So those are the winners and losers in this marketplace. So if I were to sum all this up, fairly steady prices month over month, softening demand. We do have homes sitting longer, which is a normal phenomenon. And if you're not priced right, you'll still get offers, but I'm seeing a lot of houses maybe not selling now, and the buyers and sellers, I'm saying our new difference is like $50,000 to $70,000 in price. Okay, the difference between selling and not selling, and the seller's making the decision to, okay, let's wait and see if I do a little bit better. Could happen, and the buyer's saying I'm good waiting, so they're both going to wait. But that gap is not that big, and these are on houses that are $900,000 to $1.5 million.
Sure, percentage-wise, it's
pretty small. Yeah. I'm not trying to make light of that, but
sure.
In general, I mean, those are amounts that, I mean, if you thought back 4 or 5 years ago what that $900,000 to $1.5 million house would be, they might think twice to go, oh, I'm taking a haircut at $50,000 off the price. And if they look back, they would have gone, I'd be ecstatic to get that price.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's perspective.
You know, I think there's a hidden winner out there too, Hal, and that's the person that can afford to purchase a home at today's interest rates. If you need a place to live, right, there's going to be less buyers clamoring and making offers and less competition. And you always get the opportunity to refinance. So if the rates come down, you can always, the gift is getting the house. So I think the winner in that situation, sorry, is that you need a place to live. If you're renting and you can afford to buy at today's rate, you win because a lot of people can't afford and they've been pushed out of the market.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And we do have people that are in that position for sure.
Any final thoughts, Mr. Sweasey, Mr. Pete?
The information that's available at people's fingertips on a television or a computer, on the internet, you know, it can be a little bit frightening. And I would say get the facts straight, because I'll have people call me up and think they can't sell their house. And yeah, you can sell your house, you know, but I think the relativity of the change in the market and all the concern that's out there has people a little concerned, and like the examples I gave, people are still selling. I mean, I'll meet with people and they go, well, do you think there's even any buyers? Hello? Yeah, people want to buy houses. You know, not everybody is basing their life on what the interest rate did that day or what they heard about in the Dow Jones or, you know, whatever's happening in the world. So get your facts straight, call a professional, and make sure you're not making a decision based on general information versus what's specific to us.
Let's say somebody wants to get their facts straight. And how do they do that? Besides going to you, Hal Sweasey, how can somebody verify, get their facts straight?
Depends where you are and what you're looking for. There's lots of people that do what we do that know what the market is. And then you sit down and go, okay, you live here. This is what other homes have been selling for. Some of those might have sold when rates were at 3%, so they might have gotten a higher price than we can expect at a 7% market. Okay, so there's an adjustment of this. And yeah, and there's 2 competing houses, and we have about 2 that are selling every 2 months. So we got a 2-month supply of houses. So if you position yourself as number 1, you'll be the next one to sell, right? So it's not too, well, for me, it's not too difficult. And for anybody, there's a lot of good people that can give that advice, right? So good real estate professionals.
Awesome. I love it. Get your facts straight. Mr. Pete, anything else?
Even if the facts that are coming out of the general news are true, they're a broadsword that takes national averages, and we are different than the national average. We're a community. I mean, I'll go so far as to say Templeton's different than Paso. Atascadero is different than Morro Bay. Morro Bay is different than San Luis. So being very specific in our microclimates and getting those facts straight is crucially important to make the right decision.
I hate to go into this, but Jay, you know, I look on the internet once in a while, and I like sports, and I'll see, oh, Aaron Rodgers is about to quit or something, and I'll go, oh, what? And they go, oh, well, he's not happy with the way he passed the ball that day. That's the story, right? But he's quitting the team or something, you know. So the headlines are just,
so it brings you in.
You know, it really does. It hooked me, hook, line, and sinker.
I don't know why I'm subscribed to something, Sportsnet as well, called The Spun, but I get these in my feed on my phone, and it's all those sensationalism.
Right.
It's like, you won't believe what Tom Brady did after the divorce. Right. And you're like, what? And you're like, oh, yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, he had a hangnail, but he removed it. He's good.
Yeah. Gentlemen, all right, thank you very much. And also, San Luis Obispo County, thank you so much. We've had an excellent, I guess it's not views, it's downloads for our podcast. So thank you everybody for listening to us. Hopefully our information is coming out great. And again, thank you guys very much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Hal Sweasey podcast. Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast. It comes out every Monday, so check for it in your feed for the latest information on the San Luis Obispo County market. The Slow County Real Estate with Hal Sweasey podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and on halsweasey.com, where you can find current listings and other real estate tips. halsweasey.com, that's HALSWEASEY.com. I am James Bueno, Director of Marketing for the Hal Sweasey Group. If you're looking for anything real estate, give us a call, 805-781-3750.
Hal Sweasey is a licensed California real estate broker. DRE number 01111-911. The SLO County Real Estate with Hal Sweasey podcast is a production of AGM Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.